We have made it to my favorite time of year, the holidays. I am so excited. First of all, this year flew. Can't believe we're already in December. I feel like we all say that every single time, but here we are. So today we're doing the Christmas/holiday special, and I'm so excited to share these recipes with you. I have 8 delicious recipes for you. We have an appetizer, a salad, a pasta course, a main course, 2 side dishes, a dessert, and a drink. So just like the Thanksgiving special, you can make this a full menu if you need help, if you don't know what to cook. Make all of this and you will be so satisfied. But of course, just pick and choose the recipes as you like, make what you want. As always, the full rundown recipes are on plantfullybasedblog.com. I also put all the ingredients, links, anything you need to know in the description box down below. So check out the description box. It has everything. And yeah, I'm really excited to share these with you. If for some reason these recipes aren't good enough for you or you don't like them, don't worry. I have years worth of recipes built up. Check out the channel, check out the blog, tons and tons of recipes. And I'm so excited to share these with you, and let's get into it. Growing up, one of my favorite holiday appetizers was pigs in a blanket, so it was really fun to veganize these. We need some puff pastry and vegan hot dogs. The Pepperidge Farm puff pastry just happens to be accidentally vegan, so it really works in our favor. And if you're gluten-free and vegan, the Sweet Loren's has puff pastry that's vegan and gluten-free. So we only need 1 sheet. I'm going to put the other sheet right back in the freezer. I let this thaw overnight ahead of time, so that way it would be nice and soft. And then I'm going to take my fingers, and I am doing a little bit of girl measuring here, and I am roughly marking out 4 rows and 4 columns. I wanted to make 16 pigs in a blanket from this recipe, so obviously 4 times 4 is 16. If you want to make 20 or 12, you could do that too, but I wouldn't do any more, any less than that. Although I really thought that 16 was the perfect way to do it. And I'm just taking my fingers and I'm lightly just measuring, and I'm marking it out with my knife. So this way I just have a guideline and I know more or less where I want to cut. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect, and it's totally fine. But I'm just trying to do my best to give it a little bit of consistency. And then once I feel good about my spots, I'll go in with the knife and press down and cut out my little squares. And it's super easy to do. If you don't want to use puff pastry, you can use a vegan-friendly crescent roll, like the Annie's one is good, or you can use something else that you like, but the puff pastry works really well. Then we're going to take some vegan hot dogs using the Light Life one. You could use any brand you like, and I also have a homemade recipe on the blog. You could even use baby carrots and make carrot dogs. And I'm going to cut these into quarters, so that way we have, again, 4 times 4 is 16. Yay, math. So that way we have enough for everyone. Okay, now I'm going to take it and make it into a diamond shape in front of me, put the little vegan hot dog on the bottom, and roll it up. If your puff pastry is not sticking, just add a little dot of water overlapping it and it'll stick right on top of itself. I'm going to hit it with a little spray oil, and for some extra fun and flavor, I did some minced onions on top. You could do everything bagel seasoning, you could do sesame seeds, you can do so many things, and I have some other ideas in the blog post for you. These go in the oven, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 12 to 15 minutes until golden brown. Some of them may puff open. Who cares? They're delicious. Serve them with your favorite dipping sauce. I personally am a ketchup girl, but if you want to do mustard, barbecue sauce, I mean, whatever you like to dip your little vegan hot dogs in. And that's it. I think it's fun to put this on a little sheet pan with some parchment paper just to make it fun for presentation. But these are my favorite appetizers. So good. I mean, who doesn't love a little bite of this? So delicious and so easy to make, and they look really beautiful. When it comes to winter salads, I instantly think of kale. And kale is so hearty, but it is also high maintenance. So you're going to want to massage it first, just really gently squeezing it with your hands. And sometimes I add a little salt or lemon juice when I massage it. Sometimes I don't. Today I didn't. It doesn't really matter. But you want to help break it down. It reduces in size. The color becomes bright green. Then we're going to make our dressing. So I'm using tahini, maple syrup, and then we are going to add in some orange juice because this is a kale orangey citrusy salad, so we're going to squeeze that in there. And then I'm just going to go in with a little bit of salt and pepper. Now, for some reason, I thought I'd be able to whisk this. I couldn't, so I just put it in my little mini blender. So you can use an immersion blender or a big blender, or if you have a mini blender, but it helps to get the tahini more emulsified. Then I'm going to continue cutting my orange, but I had a very specific vision in mind that I wanted to make a beautiful salad that looked like a wreath, and I didn't want there to be any orange skins or anything like that. So I separated the orange into segments, and then I just cut the orange flesh away from the pith and the skin. And if there was any of that pithy part in the middle, I also cut that off. I really didn't want to have anything in my way. Then here I did add a little bit of salt to the kale and pepper to start seasoning it. And I added a little bit of our dressing, again, just tossing lightly just to start the flavor going. I'm going to add the rest of the dressing into a little bowl, and we're going to make this into a very pretty wreath. So you want to have a good sized dish. And then the first part is that I am just going to place all the kale around. Of course, this is going to be the base of our wreath salad. And then I took my oranges and I went around with all of those and I just laid them out until I made a nice little circle with them. And then for some extra toppings, I did pomegranate seeds because of course they are so seasonal, and I just sprinkled those everywhere. I even got it in the middle of my dressing. Whoops. And then I wanted a nut element, so I went in with some pistachios. Again, they're just beautiful. The green, perfect for this time of year. And finally, to finish the salad off, I knew I wanted a cheesy, tangy element, so I did some vegan feta. I'm using Follow Your Heart. And that's really it. I just think the salad is so beautiful. It comes out so pretty and it's so fun. And you can either leave the dressing in the center or you could remove it after and it will hold its shape. It totally is your call, but it's just so pretty. All the flavors work really well together. We're using really nice seasonal ingredients with the orange and the pomegranates here. And I just think it's really pretty. I think it's really fun. And then you can just scoop and pour the dressing right on top of the salad. This is a super special pasta recipe to me. The spaghetti with walnuts and hazelnuts is a very traditional Neapolitan Italian Christmas Eve meal, so I'm really excited to share it with you. It's very simple. You're going to start off by taking some olive oil and sauteing some garlic in it. Then you're going to cook up your pasta in salted water. Any pasta you like, any brand is fine, but you definitely want to use spaghetti for this. I mean, you can use whatever pasta you like, but it's traditionally made with spaghetti. And if you really want to learn about this dish, check out the blog post because I really go fully in depth about it. And it's so good. So then we're just going to let the garlic cook for a few minutes till it gets nice and golden. We're going to add in the hazelnuts and the walnuts and a little bit of salt. This dish is typically made with anchovies. Obviously, we're not doing that, so we want to recreate some of that salty flavor with the salt. And then once everything's lightly toasted, you don't want to over toast it, just get it nice and warm and toasted going. Then we're going to add in the cooked pasta and just mix it all up. We make this every Christmas Eve. I've been having it since I was little. It's very special to me. It is simple, but it's special. And it's, like I said, very, very, very typical for people from Naples and people who live in Naples to eat this on Christmas Eve. We don't eat meat on Christmas Eve. Typically, I mean, some people do, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But we always have this pasta, and because there's no meat in it, works out great. Then you'll just plate it up, add a little vegan Parmesan on top, make sure you have some nuts, and it's so good. And you don't need a lot of garlic. It flavors the oil and it's absolutely delicious. You may want to add a few more drops of oil in case the pasta dries out, but it's so good. I've been doing holiday recipes for so many years that sometimes I forget about classic main dishes like vegan meatloaf. So shout out to a subscriber who asked for a vegan meatloaf recipe. First, we need to prepare our egg replacer. I'm using the Bob's Red Mill egg replacer. You're just going to mix it with water, set it to the side, it'll thicken. Then we need some canned or already cooked lentils. And I'm just going to take the back of my fork and I'm going to mash these up the best that I can. These weren't the most soft because I was using canned lentils. So I just wanted to get a little bit of mush going. They don't have to be full on mush. And I just love adding lentils into things. They're such a powerhouse of nutrition. They're so good for us. And then I'm going to take an onion. I always like to use a Vidalia onion or a sweet onion. And I'm going to remove the onion skins. And then I will just chop that up as small as I can. I really want this to be super, super small. So as it cooks in the oven, it just sort of melts into the vegan meatloaf, adds such nice flavor. So take your time, chop it up, or you can even throw it in a food processor if you want to make your life a little bit easier, but I do like chopping. It feels very therapeutic. So I'm going to add that into my bowl with the lentils. And then we need some vegan ground beef. I'm going to use Impossible, but you can use Beyond. You can use Abba's Butcher. You can use another brand that you like. I have a recipe for vegan ground beef on the blog if you want to make homemade, that's more like tofu and tempeh. That'll work well too. So I'm going to use 2 packages of this, and I'm just going to do my best to mix it up with the lentils and the onion. I want to give this a good pre-mix ahead of time because we're going to add in more ingredients and I want this base to be very well incorporated. It may be a little stubborn at first, just be patient with it. The vegan egg is ready to go and you'll see it's super gloopy and thick. You could also use a flax egg, a chia egg, just egg, really any sort of egg replacer that you like. And then we need garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and dried parsley. Pop that in. And I'm going to go in with some barbecue sauce. I love barbecue sauce. And we're going in with breadcrumbs. These are panko breadcrumbs that I blend up and then season with garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, parsley, and salt. So I just always have those on hand, and it's super easy then to throw into my recipes. And from there, we're just going to mix this all up. You can also use unseasoned breadcrumbs. It's totally fine. Doesn't matter. It's just what I have on hand. And I like to add a little bit of breadcrumbs and mix and then add the rest. Just makes it more manageable, makes it easier for mixing. If you're mixing and you feel like it feels a little too dry, you can always add in a tablespoon or so of water, but just give it a really nice mix around and it'll all come together. And then we need a 9x5 bread loaf pan, and we're going to add our meatloaf mixture in there. I'm going to add in some, spread it out, and then add in the rest and spread it out. And now you can put whatever kind of glaze and topping you want on here. I did barbecue sauce because I like barbecue sauce. If you want to do ketchup, if you want to mix soy sauce and maple syrup, I mean, you can do whatever you want. Tomato sauce, I don't really care what you do, but do something. Like I said, I'm going for barbecue sauce. I like it, but do whatever you want. This goes in the oven, 375 for 50 to 60 minutes, depending on your oven. It should be browned, crispy. It looks dry on top, and it's going to make your house smell so good. Then I'm just going to carefully flip it out of the pan, and then I'm going to pop it onto a dish, and I'm going to continue to brush it with the rest of the barbecue sauce. We want to get all the sides and the front, so whatever you brush on it, just keep brushing it all around, especially before you serve it. It helps bring the meatloaf to life a little bit because it adds that nice shine. For garnish, we're keeping it simple. Fresh parsley, a little bit of salt and pepper. You don't need a lot here. Meatloaf is not overly fancy, but it can look very pretty. So just add a little herb. And then I find it looks best when it's already sliced. It also makes it easier for everybody eating. You can see the inside, and I personally like to serve it sliced better. And then you can just get a really beautiful serving platter. You can do some more parsley around, and then you can do some like rosemary if you want, any fresh herbs. You can even add some cranberries or orange slices just to make it look very seasonal and beautiful. And I think this is such a great main course. It's not hard to make at all. It goes in the oven for such a long time. And really, when it comes out sliced like this on a platter, I think it does look beautiful. Meatloaf is casual, but meatloaf can be elevated. It can be fancy. It can be fun. And it's great for pairing with a super simple but delicious roasted vegetable medley. And it looks so pretty. It's so good. And I even gave this to my non-vegan fiance, and he loved it. So delicious and so good. I think every holiday table needs some sort of roasted veggie medley on it because we all forget to eat our veggies during the holidays, and it's really easy to make. I went with trying to go with Christmassy colors here, so I'm using, of course, broccoli for something green. This is just a broccoli crown. I cut off some of the stems, and some of them I did roast, actually, because they come out great, and I just cut into florets. Then for something red, we're going in with a bell pepper. I love roasted bell peppers. Adds in so much sweetness, so much flavor. I wanted to cut these into sort of big squares. So I first made some strips, and then I cut those into quarters. So we ended up with these nice square kind of shapes. And then we're going to do some cauliflower for something white. And this is a whole head of cauliflower, obviously. So I'm just going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to cut the bottom part off. We'll remove any of the leaves. Now with the cauliflower, I don't want to keep really any of that stem. I don't have to, so I'm going to cut off as much of it as I can. And then the cauliflower is really nice because it breaks into little florets very easily. And the best part about this recipe is you can add more or less of any vegetable. Take it out, leave it out. It's so simple and easy to customize. And then finally, some red onion, purple onion. But again, I just thought it was adding a nice seasonal color. And the same as the pepper, I wanted this to be in big squares. So I'm just kind of cutting it up, and then I'll pull the pieces apart. Just make sure that you've removed any of that core. We don't want that in there. And now I've been placing everything in a bowl, and we're going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Yes, that is really all you need. We don't need to go olive oil crazy here. If you want to go 1.5 to 2, that's fine, but 1 is good. And then we're going to add in salt and pepper and just give this a shake. Simple, simple, simple. Just trust me, when we roast the veggies, the flavor comes out of each of them so nicely, and they don't need a lot here. So then I'm just going to put this all onto a baking sheet. I like to line mine with my silicone mat. You can use parchment paper. You don't have to use anything. Pop this in the oven, 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 40 minutes until all the veggies are nice and soft. They looked cooked. You can smell them. And then, if you touch the bell peppers and the onions and the broccoli and the cauliflower, they'll be nice and soft. And then we're just going to transfer it into a serving bowl. And I'm keeping it simple with garnish and everything. A little salt and pepper on top is fine. And you can do a sprig of thyme or rosemary, something seasonal and pretty for serving. But I think it looks so pretty. I love the colors. And of course, the flavors really are amazing. If you don't like roasted vegetables, I don't know. They're just so good. I love them. I could eat this whole bowl myself. And it's great with the vegan meatloaf. Eggplant is one of those vegetables that I didn't really start to enjoy until later in life, and I still don't love it. I really only like it with my crispy eggplant parm or now with eggplant rollatini. And the ironic part is that my great-grandma was an eggplant pro. She made the best eggplant dishes, but I just didn't like it until now. So here you go, 33 years old enjoying eggplant. So we want to thinly slice the eggplant as thin as we can. If you have a mandolin, you can use it, but a sharp knife will do the trick. And just if it comes out too thick of a slice, don't worry, you can take your knife and shave it down a little bit like I'm doing right here. But as thin as we can, and just be careful, don't have any accidents. Don't let your eggplant fall on the floor like that almost happened to me. And yeah, and the fun part about eggplant rollatini is they don't have to be the most perfect eggplant slices. You can roll up any size, any shape, it doesn't matter. I had tons of them that weren't perfect. More so that we just want them to be on the thinner side. Now, eggplant rollatini is really an Italian-American dish at this point. It is based off of a very Southern Italian recipe that was brought over here, by Southern Italians, but it's really become very Italian-American. So now we need to salt our eggplant. This is very important. It takes out the bitterness and it takes out excess moisture of the eggplant. So I like to make a row, add some salt, make another row, add some salt, and doing these layers is fine. Now I'm going to set it to the side for about 20 to 30 minutes for the water to draw out. In the meantime, I'm going to make my tofu ricotta. I've shared this recipe many times. Very simple. We need extra firm or firm tofu, non-dairy milk, make sure it's unsweetened, unflavored, salt, nutritional yeast, and just blend it up. You can make this as chunky or as smooth as you like. I opted for this to be a little bit smoother and a little bit thinner than I typically make it, but it's pretty much the same. I just kind of blended it a little bit extra, so it got a little bit smoother. And then I just put this into a bowl. Then I'm going to make my chickpea egg mixture. So I'm taking a 1/4 cup of chickpea flour, and we're going to take 3/4 cup of water, whisk it together. You can also use non-dairy milk if you'd rather do that, but you want something to dip the eggplant into. Now here you can see all the water that's been drawn out of the eggplant. It sits on the top, and we're just going to pat them dry. You'll see in a second how much water is on this paper towel. It's crazy. There is so much liquid in eggplant, so definitely make sure you salt them. Then we're going to go into the chickpea egg mixture. Then we're going to go into our seasoned breadcrumbs. And then this is going onto a lined baking sheet with either parchment paper or a silicone mat. And we're going to bake our eggplant. Now, a lot of recipes do things differently. Some people don't put it in breadcrumbs at all. Some people pan fry them. Some people bake them. I'm baking it. And while that's baking, we're going to make a little vegan mozzarella sauce. Makes it easier to spread around on top of the dish. So all you need to do is melt up some vegan mozzarella shreds and some non-dairy milk. I believe I was using either Violife or Follow Your Heart that day. I used them out interchangeably, whatever's kind of on sale at the food store. Now don't get mad at me. I'm using jarred sauce. I really like the Rao's marinara. It is delicious. If you want to make homemade, definitely go for it. But the Rao's works really well, I have to say. So I am just going to spread about a cup onto the bottom of my baking dish. And now at this point, our eggplant are done. So they are crispy, they are golden, they are cooked, but they are flexible, which is important. We want flexibility within our eggplant. We're going to take a nice dollop of that vegan ricotta. You can spread it out a little bit. And then we're going to roll up the eggplant. And it's very simple, very easy. This is a great task if you want to involve some kids some older kids who like to cook. They can definitely help you out with this. And I like the baked version much better than a fried version. It makes it much lighter, and especially having it be vegan and having not real dairy in there, it makes the whole dish so much lighter, and it really makes it work a lot better as a side dish or an appetizer. I wanted this as a side dish within the full scope of planning a Christmas menu because thinking about the pasta course from earlier, I knew this would be a great side dish. And we're just going to add in all of our little eggplant. I made about 20 eggplant slices, so I'm just going to pop them all in there. Then we're going to add more of our sauce on top. And you definitely want to serve this with sauce on the side because the eggplant will soak up the sauce while it bakes in the oven. So definitely have some extra sauce on hand. Spread this out over top of the eggplant. And then we're going to add that vegan mozzarella cheese sauce. So see how it just spreads out easier. It already looks better, more melted, so much better than just throwing the shreds on there. And then we're going to pop this in the oven, 425 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 30 minutes until it turns nice and golden. The cheese is nice and melted down. Everything looks really good. And we're going to top it with some fresh chopped parsley and vegan Parmesan. And that's really it. That's all you really need to do on top of this. I mean, if you want to do some red pepper flakes or some fresh basil, go for it. But I think, again, you know me by now. I like to be a little bit more simple. And then we can just enjoy. It's so delicious. I could not stop myself from eating this. It was so good. And if you are an eggplant hater, then definitely try it because I don't love eggplant and I love this. For a really delicious holiday dessert, this upside down orange olive oil cake is going to be so beautiful and look so impressive, but it's so easy to make. So we're starting off with making an orange simple syrup. So we're combining organic sugar, water, and some orange juice. We're going to put this on the stove for about 10 minutes, let that cook over a medium heat. Now, we're going to carefully cut our oranges, and I'm going to take a sharp, small knife, kind of like a paring knife, and I'm just going to carefully cut as much of the skin and the pith away without taking away from the flesh of the orange. So just go slow, go carefully, and it doesn't need to be perfect, but once it's in a good place, then we're going to make some nice thin slices. You can do 2 oranges. That should be enough to fill your pan up really well. But if you are having some cracks and crevices, you can always cut another half of one or a third of one. But 2 was good for me, and I'm just making these beautiful shapes. It looks so gorgeous and it looks beautiful on top of the cake. Now we're going to prepare our batter. So we need all-purpose flour, organic sugar, and some baking powder. And if you are gluten-free, use gluten-free all-purpose flour. Mix this up, get everything well incorporated, and then we're going to go in with our wet ingredients. We need non-dairy milk. We need olive oil, of course. I'm using light olive oil. If you like extra virgin olive oil, you can use it. I personally like either using a light or regular olive oil. Vanilla extract and some orange juice from our oranges, freshly squeezed. And that's it. Then we are just going to mix up the batter. You want there to be actually a little bit of lump, not too much lump, but just a little bit. And then our orange syrup is all done. So now we can start prepping the cake. So I'm going to take a 9-inch cake pan, and I have a little parchment liner in there. And then I'm just going to assemble my oranges. You can even layer them up. That's totally fine. Just make sure the bottom layer that there's no spots out. You don't want to see any of that white parchment. Then I'm going to spray the pan with spray oil, and then we're just going to pour that orange syrup on there, and it's so good. Also, the house just smells amazing while you're making this. And then we're going to pour the batter over top. And an olive oil cake to me always just feels so rich and lush and so decadent. Like, I love an olive oil cake, and I feel like this is perfect for the holidays because it's going to look so fancy, but it's not fancy at all. It's not hard to make. Then we're going to pop this in the oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 50 minutes, depending on your oven. You want the toothpick to come out clean. You want the cake to be golden. Let this chill in the pan for like 20 minutes, and then we're just going to flip it out, and it should come out pretty easily and beautifully. I wish my camera would have focused. There we go. And now we can reveal this beautiful cake. Now, here's the deal. I don't think that this needs very much in terms of garnishing, but I do want it to look seasonal. So I'm going to top it with some powdered sugar, and then I'm going to do a little sprig of rosemary and a few cranberries. And I think that this is just beautiful. I think, for me at least, I always forget about using citrus during the winter and holiday season. I know other people don't, but I tend to gravitate towards chocolate and vanilla and cookies and other things. So I was really happy to make a cake like this because it was very different from my norm, and I figured it would be something different and fun for you guys as well, or at least I hope so. But the texture on the cake, oh, so good. With the oranges, it's absolutely incredible. This is such a good one and so easy to make, and people are gonna think it's so impressive. I mean, look at how beautiful it is. It's just so delicious. Even if it doesn't snow where you live, you can still enjoy a white Christmas with this white Christmas mocktail. We need a can of coconut milk. You can either use regular or you can use light, whatever you feel like doing. And we're just gonna give it a nice shake to get everything well incorporated in there. Then you either want a jar or a shaker. So we're gonna add the coconut milk in, ground cinnamon, and maple syrup. Then you want to put the lid on. Actually, that was not the right size lid. I had to get my other one. I grabbed the wrong one. And we're just going to shake it up and give it a little taste. I went in with half of the amount of maple syrup. I thought I was going to use it first, and then I did use the full amount. So the recipe is correct in terms of writing. Then it always is really cute if you have a fun glass, like this little snowman glass. How adorable is this? So I'm just going to add that in there with some ice, and then we're going to top it off with vanilla seltzer, and that's really it. Some shredded coconut flakes on top. You can use sweetened or unsweetened, whatever you like. It looks so pretty. And then again, super simple garnishes, a sprig of rosemary, a few cranberries, and this is beautiful. Looks delicious, easy to make, comes together in seconds. And of course, you can easily turn this into a cocktail, and it's just so pretty. I love the candy cane glass. I love the snowman glass. I just love how it came out, and it feels so fun and seasonal, and it looks so pretty, and the flavors are absolutely delicious. So I think you'll really enjoy this one. All right, and those were our delicious recipes. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. As always, if you make anything, please let me know. I love to hear back. I love to hear how things went. I love seeing comments on the blog and on YouTube and getting messages from you guys. I just love to hear back. I hope no matter what holiday you're celebrating, you have a very, very happy holiday season. And I will still be putting out probably 1 to 2 more videos in the month of December, but I just definitely wanted to get this out for you right at the beginning of the month. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon in more videos. Bye.